Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, everyone, depending on your time zone. Welcome to Sisel's Doctor's Clinic. Your host tonight, usually hailing from Denver, Colorado, but tonight from the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, Daniel D.W. Whited. Dr. Kurt Fisnick is in the house. D.W., take it away, my friend.
Well, I tell you what, Rob, we are friends, and we appreciate your friendship. And on behalf of Dr. Kurt Fisnick and myself and all the people that get to listen to the doctor's call and the replay, it's because of you. Kudos and great appreciation. If I could hit the applause button and then you could hear people clapping, that's what you'd hear all across the land. Tonight we're excited about the doctor's clinic, excited about the topic that's being covered, and Dr. Kurt Fisnick is here. Well, there we go. That is for Rob Cohen and for Dr. Kurt. Well, awesome job these guys do. But, Doctor, I don't know exactly where you are, but tonight's topic is, I don't know if you're at home or if you're on the road to, headed toward the Dakotas or exactly what's going on. But, however, we're glad that you're with us. We're going to make some house calls tonight, kind of get into a couple of things. And the topic is one of my favorites because it's a never-ending topic, and it's about disease prevention. And one of the things that a lot of people may not realize, and Doc does, and he'll get into it, a lot of autoimmune diseases are self-inflicted. We sabotage ourselves. And we want to do some things to prevent that and to get you changing some of your habits in life so you can set yourself up. Dr. Kurt, welcome to the call. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing excellent, DW, excellent. I'm just I'm driving back from Mayo Clinic. I was there with my dad today. I got to talk to people down there in Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh, man. So you're on the road. I thought you was on the road. Wasn't 100% sure where. But when it comes to prevention, it's a big deal. And when it comes to preventing specific diseases, so my comment that I made about autoimmune diseases, a lot of those are self-inflicted. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They're self-inflicted, but it's not like, like you go out and shoot yourself in the foot or anything like that. I mean, most people don't really know what they're doing to inflict the disease upon themselves.
Well, there you go. Now, I mean, take the guy that's drinking 42 soda pops a day, and I've run into that guy before, by the way. And he's eating Krispy Kremes, and he's getting himself to where he's 300 pounds. He is asking for diabetes and other multiple challenges that are going on, and there's ways to reverse that or to stop that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and it's funny, you bring up soda right away. I mean, holy cow, we're down at Rochester Clinic, we're at Mayo Clinic in Rochester today, and my dad and I went down there and had lunch, and what is everybody drinking? DW, everybody is drinking soda. I mean, you think here's one of the most well-known hospitals, not just in the United States, not just in Minnesota, not in the Midwest, but across the globe. There's people there from all over the world, and they're serving soda, and we know that that's one of the causes of disease in this country. It's one of the causes of obesity, and Coca-Cola wants you to think that it's something else, but it's that.
Well, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine people being in the health industry trying to get people healthy, seeing what they see every day, then making the decision to sit there and drink. I mean, the amount of sugar that people put in their system on day in and day out, I mean, it's bigger than it would heap above a decent-sized cereal bowl, just in typical foods and in products that they're taking in. So talk to us about prevention and disease, and let's just take off on this. I'm enjoying this, Doc.
Yeah, DW, I mean, let me ask you this question. I mean, if you thought about it today, with all the things that you're doing, and I know you're proactive, you're taking a lot of products and you're doing some things to keep yourself healthy, things like that. What are the diseases that you're trying to prevent for yourself? I mean, you tell me. You and Miss Helen and your kids. What diseases are you guys trying to prevent?
Well, that's very interesting. One of the things that since I went through that that necrotizing fasciitis, that back flesh eating bacteria, it compromised a little bit of my pancreas, and it's been under kind of a, I don't know what you want to call it, but I'm watching my sugar sensitivities went up since then. So that's a big deal to me. So I've studied a lot, and I've learned a lot, and learned quite a bit from Tom Sr. and Jr. as well. And so that's one of the things that's going on. Danielle Lee, who just had a baby 5 months ago and then had that blood clot, on the instead of the inside of the lung, it was on the outside, and she had to go through some of that, getting things going, and finding out just recently that her iron levels are just a little bit low, and so getting her to recover from having that fourth child and going through some of those things. Miss Helen, and I'm just going to go say it like this, she's gone through, had her bones tested, every bone in her body tested real good, with the exception of her left hip is a little bit compromised, just minor, and then that thigh bone going down to the knee is compromised. And so, we're hitting it from a different regiment to give that bone strength. The other bones are off the charts crazy good, and that one side, we don't know how, just like you said, we don't know how that got compromised. I don't know how that Danielle's iron levels are off a little bit. Don't know exactly, how Helen's what caused that left side of the bone, and we're talking about it's just on the borderline of being something they're concerned about. So it's not major, but the doc and one of the things her doctor said to do is get a little bit more exercise, not run a major marathon, but just get a little more exercise, in which she was already doing, and of course we're up in the calcium and with the Siseline, and up in the calcium with the K2, doubling up on that and stuff. But those are just three little dinky areas that that we're concerned. Outside of that, even the hereditary things that are out there with both sets of our family are really pretty decent. We want to take care of our heart really well. My grandma's Whited had a little bit of Alzheimer's the last year of her life, so we're really conscious of our brain health as well. So that was probably more than you wanted, Doc, but there you go.
Yeah, well, and I was sitting there at Mayo with my dad today, and he was getting some checkups done, and I was sitting out in the waiting room and just kind of talking to people, having conversations and things like that. And I started making a list. What are the things that I'm really trying to prevent? I mean, I'm a doctor, and I know probably a little bit more background of a lot of these different things, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't want Alzheimer's. I mean, I definitely don't want Alzheimer's. I mean, if I'm alive, I want to know exactly everything that I'm doing every minute of the day, and I don't want heart disease. I mean, I watched my grandparents go through heart disease, and I watched my grandma get Parkinson's, and I watched people get cancer, and I've worked with people that had cancer. I've worked with people with arthritis and diabetes and all these different things, arthritis and lung disease and infections like yourself, and I think, holy cow, I don't want that, and 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 so I started thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing to prevent it? And here I am. I'm 54. I mean, I'm not even halfway there yet. I mean, next year will be my halfway point. I want to live to be 110 years old. That's my goal. That's the target that I've set for myself. And so I'm just reaching middle age right now. And what am I doing to get there, right? A lot of people ask me that. I had a gal ask me that today at Mayo Clinic. Well, what are you doing? And I said, let me think about it. And I started listing down all the things that I do as far as the Sisel products. And DW, I mean, I use 30 different Sisel products, actually 32 different Sisel products, right? And I'm taking Fucoidan. And I mean, we had the post today, Sisel International post today, the five top reasons to use Fucoidan. I mean, and I just tell people simply, I take it because it decreases inflammation, and almost every single chronic health condition that you have, including Alzheimer's, including heart disease, including arthritis, they're all caused by inflammation. So why not lower it by taking a shot of Fucoidan every single day? I use Eternity because I like to have the sirtuin gene turned on. And so I take that every day. And Spectromax, because they say that every chronic disorder has a link to a mineral deficiency, and I take the 4 Restore because I want to keep my testosterone levels up because it keeps me young and vibrant. And I use the Forskolin because when you read up on it, it burns belly fat and it lowers blood pressure. I mean, those are the 2 reasons that I'm taking that, and I'm taking the Renovator because it helps with the arthritis. And man, I got beat up pretty good 9 years ago, and when that car hit me at 65 miles an hour, holy crap! I mean, I probably shouldn't be alive and much less walking, and so I take that because I've got arthritis, and I take the Omegas, the Super Omega Plus, and I take the Brain Vitality because I don't want to have dementia or Alzheimer's, and I take the Heartify because I just don't want to have heart disease, and I use the Siseline and DW. I can just go on and on and on about all the different products I'm using, the Inner Chi and the Body Shield because according to the National Institutes of Health, I mean, I've got a reason for everything that I'm taking. It's not just because some smart and really good marketer said, Kurt, you need to take this and this and this and this and this. I mean, absolutely not. I'm taking it because there's absolutely all sorts of medical evidence that says we need to be taking this and this and this because of the world that we live in. And I was reading some things this afternoon and this morning while I was at Mayo, and this stuff has all been predicted for a long time. Since the 1950s, 70,000 new chemicals have been introduced into the world. But if you go way back to the ancient Roman times, right? The scientists, or whatever you want to call them back then, I mean, I guess you'd call them scientists. They said we got to make the smokestacks taller. We want to make sure we want to spew those chemicals from the flames, from the wood burning fires. We want to spew that way up into the upper air so that it doesn't affect us down here. And so this is way back in the ancient Roman times. But guess what? They made their silverware. It wasn't silver. It was made out of lead. Their water pipes were made out of lead. And that was the demise of the civilization, was because of that, lead exposure. And, we're kind of having the same problem now. I mean, wouldn't you say, DW, that if you could do something right now, wouldn't it be lowering your risk of disease by not only taking things but avoiding things, right?
Well, absolutely. And it was just like all the things you mentioned, just now with yourself, and when we look at what Tom has put together, we have an entire arsenal. We can just load up and absolutely give somebody the support they need to get through the challenges that they're going through. I mean, there's stuff that we have that can give someone's iron level a balance, that can help someone's blood sugar, sensitivities if that's the level that it's at, or even type 2 diabetes. We can help somebody strengthen the bones. These are just things that just have popped up recently that in every single one of those. In the Alzheimer, are you kidding? I mean, with our brain products, I mean, if you take the, obviously everyone's going to mention the obvious one, which Brain Vitality, but you add to the Brain Vitality the Encompass 360 and Eternity and our Omega Plus. That is phenomenal food for the brain, and then Body Shield to help get the heavy metals out. I mean, you have just lowered the chances of being challenged with Alzheimer's and dementia, by a significant amount, to where it's a game changer in your life.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, double exactly on that one.
Yeah, and all these things. I mean, it's scary when you think of the world that we live in. I mean, we're destroying our own environment, and it's just gotten to be where it's really profit over safety.
Well, that's true. I mean, when you talk about what Tom's doing with his science, and the way that big pharma has driven our doctors. I mean, the doctors aren't making the decisions over the pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are making the decisions over the doctors, and it's that I don't know when that got reversed, how that got reversed, but the prevention's hardly ever talked about. You know, and it's so we've got things that can hold stuff off and give people a better quality of life. So you know, those are the thoughts on that, partner.
You bet. You know, and that's exactly it. And so when you and I are sitting here talking, when we were talking earlier about doing the call on prevention, most of the time when we do the Sisel Doctor Clinics call, we talk about you know, the science behind the product, and we have testimonials. Oh, I had this disease and now it's gone, and you know, so I started thinking the most important thing, DW, is what about the testimonials that we never hear? You know, the guy that never gets arthritis because his body knows how to heal itself. It's got the right ingredients so it can heal itself. And the lady that never gets breast cancer, the child that never has to have treatment for asthma, and those types of things. I mean, and you start thinking about it. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing that we can do is share information on that. And what things do we have? What does, I mean, if I've got a product that can help somebody that's got arthritis, for example, or I've got a product that helps somebody slow down the aging process, wouldn't it be important to start taking that and start recommending that to someone today before they start having the disease?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you just talk about, you know, just using our Terminator and our toothpaste and having young kids on that versus this bubblegum toothpaste that they want to swallow and put in their mouth, and it slows down the cavities. I mean, Doc, how many times you heard me say on other calls, don't wait until you're thirsty to dig a well? I mean, that right. And, you know, let's do some things now. And, you know, a lot of people don't think they have toxins in their body. They don't think they have challenges going on. And if you've ever looked at the dirt that's on top of the shelf of a dresser, or on top of the top of a dresser, or the dirt that's in a filter from an air conditioning or heating unit, you know, I'm telling you right now, that same dirt and that same junk's going into your lungs, going into your body, and everybody processes it a little bit different. And it, you know, and how you getting it out? We get things out, and we stop it. Part of the prevention is putting things, you know, putting the proper things on your body, and then extracting the proper things out of your body. It makes a big difference. So when you're looking at prevention, you are right. I mean, great and massive are the numbers of people that maybe had a minor challenge and it was headed off fast. Or it was headed off even before they even knew they had the challenge, or it never even got to the point to where their body was compromised. And so, you know, maybe Helen's bones were going through some challenges, and now that she's been on the calcium for quite a while, she's going to double it up a little bit. You know, now we're looking at just a small compromise in just a couple areas where it might have been body-wide. You know, your bones are not supposed to look like Swiss cheese when you get old. That's when you fall down, break your hip, and go in the hospital, get pneumonia, and you're dead. Now, as crazy as that sounds, a lot of times it happens that way. And so,
it sure does.
When you put the calcium in, and you're using the Spectramax, you know, to help with that as well, and you're using the Siseline and you know the body shield and you know the Encompass 360, the multivitamin. It gives those bones and gives your body a chance. Hey, you know, you talked about, you know, just that you know, just what Tom does with the extragula that's inside the TSX. It helps you build more cells. Your body's burning them up faster than you're building them as you get older. And now we can catch that process up to where your body, you know, is still burning them up, but you're making more than it's burning. Advantage liver, advantage kidneys, advantage small organs, advantage intestines, advantage, you know, your pancreas, advantage your brain, you know, advantage your heart. It's huge advantage to all those areas. And, you know, open heart surgery, the average person is going to spend about $100,000. Hello. Are you kidding me? If we can help someone stop that from happening, you can have a whole lot. I mean, you can take a ton of Heartify and Triangle of Life for $100,000, Doc. I'm just saying.
You bet you can. You bet you can. I mean, and that's the thing that people don't think about is that, I mean, they look at some of the products that are out there, not just Sisel products, but any of the good nutritional products, and they compare it to the products you could buy at Walmart and Costco, and they go, oh, your products are way more expensive. Well, there's a reason for that. And then I point out, I say, but did you ever, price out the cost of getting sick? And you brought up a point that just I got to focus on it, otherwise I'll move on and not say anything. You brought up that, as far as like osteoporosis and having, the big holes and gaps in the bones and that. When you have a bone scan done, DW, when you have a bone scan, how much bone loss do you have to have before it shows up?
We don't know. I wish that, we got to find that out, 'cause that's a really good question.
Yeah, and so the answer to that is by the time it shows up on a normal X-ray, you've lost. I'm trying to think back. I think
what you're saying is this: the statistics are. I see what you're saying. The statistics are, and maybe Rob will throw the percentage at us because he can research it real fast. But by the time you find out, you've lost so much that it's almost too late.
Yeah, I think it was you lost 60% of your bone mass before it even shows up.
See, that's not cool.
60%. And I used to teach people in my clinic, they'd come in and they go, oh man, Doc, last year I felt so good. I had nothing wrong with me, and now I'm just falling apart. Why was it? And here's the magic words. All of a sudden I got sick. And here's what I would tell you, DW. It wasn't all of a sudden. You didn't all of a sudden get sick. It's been coming on for a long time. It's been coming on for a long time, and the only all of a sudden is when you have an accident. Like when that guy ran me over, yeah, that was an all of a sudden type of incident.
Well, I'm telling you, you hit the nail on the head about all of a sudden, because you are so right there. And when we're putting people in a situation to where their body starts getting compromised, body knows what it needs to go heal up, and if it doesn't have the ingredients and the nutrition to go heal it up, then it's game over. If we can give someone the edge, then it's game on.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I mean, it could be just about everything. I mean, cancer. If you really got right down to it, if you could measure and check every level, every value of every enzyme in your body, I bet you could discover that your cancer started 20 years ago, right? Osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease. It didn't just all of a sudden snap your fingers and boom, I had a heart attack. I mean, heck, when you take a look at heart attack statistics, right? 40% of people, when they have that heart attack, they don't live to talk about it. 40%. And there was little signs that probably came on throughout the last, few years. And they're showing now, I mean, that they're showing now you could take the average 20-year-old and you could measure the amount of plaque in their arteries now at the age of 20. And compared to 100 years ago, back right after World War I, when the American doctors came back from Europe after World War I, and they came back to the United States, and they wanted to test this new machine, the electrocardiogram, the whatever the governing body, I don't think it was called the FDA back then, but whatever the governing body was, they said, well, you got to go out and prove it. You got to go out and prove that it works, prove that it actually shows anything before you can start having turn doctors loose with that. And it took years to get enough people with heart disease to actually prove that thing worked. I mean, heck, today, I could walk down the street here at my brother's house. I could grab one person out of every house, and I'd have enough people to prove that thing works before I got to the end of the block.
Wow. We just had a friend of ours that you talked to 3 years ago, one of the first people I've talked to about getting on the Sisel product, and they chose not to. Talk to them again, they chose not to. Talk to them again, they chose not to get on. And I did a meeting in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and they showed up to the meeting. And she came up to me, and she had tears in her eyes. And this is a awesome friend. She's like 74 years old. And she came up to me with tears running down her eyes. Why didn't I listen to you? Why didn't I listen to you? She just got diagnosed a few weeks before that of having Parkinson's. And, and I know based on experience, we could have helped a lot with that. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Don't wait until you get diagnosed. Let's be, proactive and get on top of our game and help people get on top of their game, and talk about how Tom's, maybe one of these we need to go over the Meyer mission and what it's really all about as well, because that's as much as what we do as anything. Just be proactive and help individuals. Now she's devastated. Now we're going to help her. I'm getting ready to send an email here in a few minutes on what our water treatment system can do. I mean, one of the things for prevention is water's not cleaner. Water's not getting any better. Water is getting worse, and you need to make sure you're putting this in your body that it's going to absorb properly instead of be totally 100% destroyed by the water that's out.
Right. Well, and one of the things that Tyler LeBaron talked about last week when we were out in Utah is he talked about how the hydrogen water gets into the cells and it helps break up that gunk that's in there, and every day we have a little bit of gunk, just like the bottom of your oil pan. If you could take the oil pan off your car engine, you'd find that there's gunk in the bottom of your oil pan, and where it's sludged up. Well, in your cells, you have that same kind of sludge that's been building up in there, and that hydrogen water helps break this stuff out and get rid of it. So, again, there's another thing that we have with Sisel that we can offer people, just get the gunk out.
Well, I think that's right. And, and so he talked about a lot how it helps the cells and what it can do. And so that's a major prevention thing is get the proper water in your system. And the company's got it set up to where you can get one, and it's affordable, and it can be a game changer for you. And so that's it's pretty dynamic. It's powerful. Well, we got the right products. I mean, everyone and Doc Fisner on the same boat here. First thing we want to see you just try to take off on, if all possible, is get a solid regimen of Triangle of Life in your body. And just start with the basics that Tom started with. If you're new to this, get the Ficoidin, use it for 3 or 4 days. Doc, when I have someone buy the Triangle of Life, I have them buy an extra Ficoidin because they're going to take a few extra doses before they go to bed at night, and helps them sleep better and helps heal up their body a little bit better, or gives we can't claim healing, but it helps strengthen their body, helps with the inflammation and circulation that they're going through. So those are some. And Doc, would you agree with that recommendation? Let's get started with the Triangle of Life, and let's get some of the basics going.
Yeah, I think the Triangle of Life is the perfect starting point. And I always, sometimes you run into people, and they just go, man, Kurt, I'd love to do that, and they say, but I only got 50. I only got 50 in my pocket. And what do you do? I mean, DW, do you turn them away? And I just say absolutely not. And Fucoidin was the product that I always recommended. I'd say, well, if I got 50, if I had 50, I'd buy the Fucoidin. That's where I'd get started, right?
Absolutely.
And then I'd go out, I'd recommend it to people. But I was with Tom last summer for a little bit, over a weekend after we were there for that Sisel Live event, and I asked Tom. I said, hey, if you had 50 and you could only buy one product, which product would you buy, right? And Tom told me, he said, well, Spectramax. That would be the first product he'd buy. And I asked him, I said, well, why? And he said the same thing that I said earlier, that based on the science, 2-time Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling, he said that every chronic disease has a relationship to missing key essential minerals, and Spectramax fills that void. But DW, the thing, after doing the Sisel Doctors Clinic call back in February, we did those first 2 house calls, and we had Mike on, and we had a number of different people on that just Sarah was on and Rachel was on, and they shared how the eternity turned their lives around.
Absolutely.
And I thought, well, maybe that's my favorite product. And now, and DW, I mean, that's exactly where I'm at now. So now I'm going, okay, which one is my favorite? Which one is my favorite? I don't even know.
Well, it's the triangle of life. I mean, it's hard to narrow it down, and it does depends on what issue specific challenges someone's going through, and what they're trying to prevent. I'm telling you, the person that's been adopted and doesn't know their family history, they are the guy that needs to really get on top of their game, along with everybody else as well. But Doc, we're out of time. And it's an absolute joy getting to be a part of the Doctor's Clinic with you. You have any closing thoughts before we go?
I just want to say prevention is it, man. Get on prevention, and you're going to be a lot healthier. And like me, I mean, you're gonna live a long, healthy life. I mean, heck, you look at the different things. I was writing down kind of a history of my life today, and man, I've been riding motorcycles since I was about 6. I had my first car when I was 8. I mean, I almost drowned in Laguna Beach out in California in '86. Almost died in a motorcycle wreck in 2007. I mean, DW,
you got a reason to be here, don't you?
I'm the luckiest man on this planet, and God has me here for a reason. And I think we're living it right now. We're living it, and this is a lot of it. So get with the person who invited you on this call, and you can get with Dr. Mance or Dr. Karen Calley and some of these other leaders out there as well, and just let them kind of guide you in what direction you should go. But a lot of it's common sense. You want to get a solid foundation of minerals in your body. You can do that with the SpectraMax. You can also do that. There's 50 trace minerals in our sizzling as well, which is another game changer as far as getting the proper nutrition on food and the proper fiber in your body as well, in addition to the protein that gives your muscles. It's really nutrition for the muscles is what the sizzling is. But we won't get into every product tonight, but get some of the basics started and going. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of the Doctor's Clinic. Don't be afraid to share this call with others, and we will look forward to talking to you same time, same place next week, where the world is our waiting room. God bless. Thanks for being on the call tonight.
Thank you, DW. Thank you, Dr. Fismick. Thank you all for being here for Sisel's Doctor's Clinic. This call will be posted within a half hour, possibly 15 minutes. Until next week, we wish you Godspeed.